This conference will now be recorded.
But it is not a bad guy. Why stealing stuff? Not stealing stuff, it is something else.
This conference will now be recorded.
Could you please go on mute, everyone?
Sure.
Yeah. Just for a second. Okay. So this is Krishna here. So I'm holding 15 years of experience in corporate. So basically, like I started my career with an web designer and web developer, and currently I'm into like I'm handling the role like UI architect. So my training is my basic exposure. Like I need to have this knowledge sharing sessions, and also like I would like to have some uh, technology upgrading sessions in the symposiums and the corporate market. So here in this particular session, we'd like to have the UI frameworks and libraries like Angular and React. So I just want to, in this particular course, like we'll be covering about the UI and what do you call with the UI, what is the structure of UI and how about this particular how do you manage the websites and how do you deploy the web applications and what is the enhancement of web application based upon your development and also like how to develop the mobile applications. Entire guidelines will be given over here, and also like we need to have some technical knowledge about how we will be doing the web applications using the front-end UI framework and libraries and what is the main part of this particular JavaScript is doing over here and everything will be like that. So before going to our course, like what is about all this particular course and also I just want the audience about you like who are making use of this particular course. So I need to know about yourself so that we will define the depth of our course, how it will be. So because this is the reason, like, so if you are having absolutely zero idea, I need to have to give you some basic knowledge, basic strong things like this. So if you are having the basic knowledge about minimum HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, so because these are all the prerequisites which we are needing for this Angular and React course, so I just needing your basic about awareness of all the HTML, CSS, and JavaScript so that I can define more deeper on this particular subject. So which is my intention to know about yourself, so which is like a common guidelines will be followed. So I think all of you are having the mics as well. So, but if you're using any other speakers in your home, you just uh, put off your speakers and use your headphones for your better performance so that if you are speaking from there in your mic you'll get the distortion sound or noise from your speakers. So always try to use the headphones so that is for your better performance. When you are speaking something, your mic should not disturb your uh, that is what your mic and your speaker will correlate and will get the sound of echo. So got my point. Like we just going alphabetical wise about your study. So what is your study background, like engineering or year of pass out? And if you are working somewhere, and what is your platform of working and all? So I don't need your company names and all. I just want your platform where you are working and what is the technologies you are using. Okay. So let's start with we have C, the first person. So anyone can introduce yourself. Like, just give me a simple. Oh, have you start with Dinesh? Okay,
Yeah,
Dinesh.
sure. Yeah. Hi, Krishna. Myself, Dinesh. So my background is from computer science. So I did my master's over here in US, and I've been working as a web producer. So it's related to content management system. So
Okay.
I have, I have basic knowledge regarding HTML, CSS, and JavaScript and Bootstrap as well. So the work where I use so it's not mostly related to coding kind of stuff. So it's all regarding the basics of HTML, CSS, and Bootstrap. So my job over there, I'll be getting some content from the content team, and So we use a .cms, so basically a tool in order to build a website. So where developers already pre-developed the widgets or all I do is use basic HTML, CSS in order to line up the body inside those widgets and all those things. So so from this course, I would be grateful to learn all the frameworks like React. I'm mainly concentrating on React, and next would be Redux. Yeah.
Okay, that's pretty cool. And thank you, Dinesh. And
Yeah. Sure. Thanks, Krishna.
yeah, and the next part, attendee. Yeah, Mr. Sandeep.
Hey, hi. Yeah, myself Sandeep. I'm doing my master's here and I'm in my final semester. So I'm looking to learn the Angular and React both as well. And coming to this, I'm not that good in the HTML, CSS, and also in the JavaScript Bootstrap. To be frank, I'm starting with the zero. So I'm looking to learn from the basics onwards related to this course. Yeah,
Okay,
that's it.
good. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Sandeep. And who else? Right. Mohammed.
Hey, hi, Krishna.
Right.
Uh, uh, I have done BTech with computer science, and I have overall 6 years of experience. Uh, so, working as a front-end developer, I
Mm-hmm.
have knowledge on HTML and CSS and JavaScript and jQuery.
Okay.
So, I want to learn the AngularJS with React.
Okay.
That's all.
Okay. Thank you, Mohammed.
Thank you.
And who's next? Charan. Charan, you there? If anyone have the mic problem, you can type in the chat window. In the meanwhile, Abhinay Kumar. Okay. Dinesh.
Yeah. So I was done. So I was the first person, Krishna.
Oh, sorry.
No, that's fine. No worries. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Janaki. I mean, Kunapuradi.
Hello, hi Krishna, this is Naresh.
Hi. Yeah.
Good morning. I have 3 years of experience in cybersecurity, so I am trying to move the technology. Like I am interested in development side. Initially,
Okay.
I have tried for Java like 3 months after due to some uh, company um, policies. Like I moved to some other technology. So now I want to take over this moving into different technology like this. Uh, your development front end developer. So I have like
Okay.
some knowledge in HTML and CSS.
Okay.
So
Okay. Yeah, you have the basic knowledge of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript as well.
no, only like I started just I have this basic knowledge of HTML and CSS.
Okay. 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 Thank you, Naresh.
Thanks, Krishna.
Yeah. Who else are there?
Hi, this is Rajiv.
Yeah, Rajiv.
Good morning, Krishna. This is Rajiv.
Yeah. Yeah, Rajiv,
Yeah.
come on.
Yeah. Actually, I'm working. I have almost 10 years of experience in .NET development. Since now I worked in MVC projects, not in Angular. Just I want to know about the Angular. Can I know how it will be helpful? How you are going? Like you are going to Angular in details or only front end?
Basically, like Angular is a front-end framework, so we'll be defining this particular framework, how to use with the front end itself. But as per your .NET environment, you need to have to define this particular in the front end itself. So you are not doing anything with the back end, your whatever the C# code and all. Here, you'll be having the TypeScript code and all. So which is like you will be writing some logic and components, and you will be including inside your .NET. Okay, so we are not touching anything with your .NET, but we will make use of your how your logic will be uh, important to the this particular Angular and how we will synchronize with the .NET environment to here. We will discuss those things. Okay,
Okay. Okay. Thank.
thank you. Anyone else?
Krishna, this is Ram. Hi, Krishna.
Hi, Ram. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm having 10 plus years of experience, and I'm working as a consultant for one of the enterprise application. I work on integrations and add-ons configurations, plugins configuration, implementations.
Okay.
I don't have the programming background, and I have nil knowledge in the CSS and JavaScript and HTML.
Okay. Okay, Ram. Thank you. And who else? I think Jyoti just joined.
Yeah, hi. This is Jyoti.
Hi, Jyoti. Can I have
Uh,
your
yeah. I have 10 plus years of experience. Most of my career on HL7 standards, analysis and all. And I have
mhm.
desktop experience, HL7
Okay.
standards, analysis, just like
Okay.
CCD like that. And
Okay.
I have the desktop experience, and I know HTML5 and CSS, and I have the web knowledge, little bit of web knowledge. I have coding knowledge, but I didn't have major experience on that.
Okay.
That's it from
Okay.
my side.
Yeah, pretty cool. Uh, okay. So anyone else? If you're done completing your from your end, you just mute on your mics. I think few more people are there. Maybe they'll be having their mic problem, but they can type in the chat so that I can know about it. Okay. Basically, uh, most of you are experienced and a little bit knowing about the knowledge of your web applications and websites. So I think you have seen some web applications, how to work in that particular thing, and you are maintaining some things like some other technologies and some other user parts kind of thing. Okay. Jyoti, can you please go on mute?
Yeah.
Thanks. So whenever our session is happening, so these are the minimum things we'll be following. Like whenever you have any question, you just put a raise or here in the chat window so that I can stop there and I'll come to your question so that you can talk and others will not get disturbed over here. So just like we will be doing like this, and also like we'll be having these particular sessions entirely on the practical implementation, more into like theoretical. So theoretical is nothing but if I go through the slides and all, you'll be knowing those particular things, but the practical is very much important. So where to use what and how to use that and how we do like this and how we have to do like that and all. So it's basically like more into an interactiveness, like where you can work on those particular things on a daily basis, on a regular basis. More about the assignments we do, like we do give the assignments based on the topic, and we will be like that. So it's generally like why we use this particular UI frameworks and libraries. So what is all about and how we will be doing all these things. So I think most of the people are knowing about the web applications and how it goes and all. So just a quick introduction about this, how it will goes. And myself, I'm Krishna. I'm having 15 years of experience in corporate. Basically, the web design. So the principles of the web design are here, like web availability, performance, reliability, scalability, and manageability. And of course, the cost-effective systems are more implemented nowadays because if you can save the cost of your organization, that will be better for your growth and all. So, which will like if are most of the people are having a couple of experience, like which are more experienced. At this point of time, I need you. I need to have like you have to be like more exposure in the things on these basic principles, like you are pretending to some uh, senior developers or senior team leads kind of role. So after 10 years or after 6 years, you'll be becoming some team leads. So you need to have to go through your managing of your teams, as well as you need to have to take the knowledge sharing sessions as well, which is very much important nowadays. So what is this, all this, what is availability and how we do the performance, and what is the performance of a web application or a web pages or websites we are defining, and the reliability and the scalability and manageability. So using our front-end frameworks and libraries, we're going to implement and we do maintain these particular features, the basic principles of the web design, because it's not only just building this particular application. So how to measure our performance of our web application and how to do a scalable application, how do we manage our application kind of thing. So generally, the basic core components of any web application, it will be like the front end and the server with the API logic and the backend database, and they'll be having a media cache here. This is a basic scenario, so everyone knows about it, how this particular request will be coming and how it will be like that. So based upon the browser request, the internet fetches the front end, and the front end fetches the server data, and data nowadays it will be transforming into another structure called JSON, which is like a JavaScript object notation, where the browser or the JavaScript, so where the front end will be using these only technologies. The browser will be having the HTML, JS, and CSS. If you run any program in your script, so which is like whatever the application you do, for example, if you do the .NET application or a JavaScript, a Java-based application, the final output and what you are compiling, the browser passes your output, and which the browser only passes the code of these three technologies, which is like HTML, JavaScript, and CSS. So that is the reason we are making some bundling in your backend. So which is like in your .NET environment or in your Java environment or any other. PHP is a precompiled HTML script, so we will leave it aside. So other than this, we do compile our program and we do check those applications, and we do build the application, and building the application. So in the production level or in the development level, we do bundle the code, we do bundling, and we do the packing kind of thing. So what is this bundling? So we are making everything into a single file, which is a .js file, which is like a bundle.js or any other uh, .js file, which is like giving you the entire script encoded into a simple minified version of your JavaScript. So which is very much useful to your front end HTML or your browser to understand the logic what you have implemented out there and everything based on that. And primarily like how we are getting the data from your database. So nowadays we'll be using the cloud base as well, the cloud databases and some physical databases which are residing in our servers where we'll be fetching using some server logic. And mostly like currently the world is happening on the basis of the cloud basis. So we'll be seeing two types of databases over here, which is like a real-time database and a cloud Firebase or any other cloud database which is in real time, how it will be about. So there are two differences over here, data in SQL queries and data in the documents. So everything nowadays, like each and the cloud data will be stored in a document, and the document will be having the collection, and the collections will be having some fields, data, and all. So these are all the two types we'll be discussing about the database when we are fetching the logic from our APIs. So we'll be having some APIs. So generally, APIs will be like application programming interfaces, which is a REST or a web APIs. We'll be doing some logic in the server programming. So suppose if you are using some .NET environment or any other Java, Spring Boot, or any other environment, we will be converting our data and we are fetching the data from that particular database server or a cloud server using this particular APIs, and the APIs will be providing the data to the front end so that we can play something in the front end itself using our frameworks like Angular or React. And coming to this particular frameworks and libraries, React is a library and Angular is a framework. And what is the difference between the React and Angular? And what is the difference between primarily with a library and a framework? How it works? So why we have two scenarios? And all these things will be discussed in the next session. So basically like the front-end language is what I require or what we require at this point of time is like the basic awareness of these languages like front-end HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So what is HTML? You know, everything like HTML is a basic structure of any web page. So what a web page is, it is traversing on this particular thing like which is coming the information on a protocol called HTTP. So how do you define the HTML? Anyone?
Using a tags.
Yeah, can you explain what is HTML?
Okay, so HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. So it's a language, used in order to display some content on the web page. So how we do that is using the tags, what we do in order to display the HTML on the web page. So that's what I think.
Okay, so pretty much good. And any other answers? Okay, not a problem. But here, so why we name it as HTML? So you are accessing your pages, everything on the basis of your protocol HTTP, which is a hypertext transfer protocol. And that protocol will be giving you some information in your browser pages. So the browsers are important where you are getting your information on whatever the media you will be displaying. So the information traversing from the protocol and displaying in your front end is nothing but your HTML, which is like a hypertext language. And this language, the information will be implemented on the basis of your markups. So wherever we'll be having the head, body, and the content in the blocks and inline contents and block contents, everything will be defined on this particular thing. So which is like the language which is defining on the basis of this HTTP is nothing but this HTML. And moreover, it was started with the SGML, which is like a standard generalized markup language, which is like a simple content page like a document. So where it started, so it all started in the promotions. So whenever you want to do something like you want to promote yourself, you need to write some content about your business. That is what the information. So we'll be preparing some documents. So documents will be having some headings or whatever the paragraphs and some images, look and feel kind of thing. So we'll be doing all those things. So which is like you can promote with a document, you can mail them or you can do the print and you can spread it over in person like a flyers and all. But yeah, Rajiv, you are saying something.
Yeah, sorry. Sorry, please go ahead.
Yeah, please, one more. Okay, so that is what. So, spreading the document, or we are just or we are spreading this, whatever the printouts of your documents, using the in person, which will reach to up to some location, or if you are posting it, it will be reaching you in some time. So, what if we use this particular media called www, which is like a world wide web, which is connected everywhere nowadays, globally, which is through your internet protocol, where the internet exists, where the network exists. This will reach to everyone. So promoting your business or your entity or whatever you want to do some service in the corporate industry or any other industry which needs the promotion to be spreaded all over globally through this www, which is like a worldwide web. We are making the websites and web pages. So the websites will be having the information, and the information is just displaying this particular content about your business. So how to more attractive, like the customer has to receive your content in a more attractive way, because you are having lot many websites, but you are knowing some information on a regular basis on few websites only. So your addiction goes to some website, right? So daily we can visit the thousands of websites. So in that case, why we are addicting to that particular website, or why we are opening that website as well? So we are having lot many search engines. Why we are using only Google? We are having lot many Gmail providers or email providers. Why we are using only Gmail or some familiar mails? So which is like you are getting interacted, like which is like more you are more comfortable with that particular look and feel or the content providing by that or the structure of that particular website or any other application, which is like the another feature which is like giving attractiveness. So which is attracting you towards that particular website to be useful, like you are using that particular website or web application regularly. So which is like CSS is the primary important point where you are applying this particular attractiveness for any other web media we'll be using or web information what we are displaying in the web pages. So basically, what is CSS?
Sorry to interrupt you, Krishna. So
No problem.
you will teach the basics of this HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, right? Or you will directly go to the Angular?
Uh, See, without the basic steps, we can't go further. So if you know those things and all, uh, it's okay, just for a brush up thing. So I will not go in detail into this particular HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. But if you are really a fresher on this particular technologies like HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, I'll give you a good guidance and a work schedule for this. And if you go through those particular things, you will be knowing the things better. Okay, but initially you need a basic homework to get all those things. If already you know those things, they can just practice and look over and they can keep in mind. So is there any like a betterment if they're knowing already, or if they don't know about those things earlier, they will be knowing this and they also do some homework. That is, but we will be covering this HTML basics, uh, the basic understanding how we will be doing a website and all. We'll start from that. Okay.
Okay.
I think you are from different background and you need to learn. You don't know about all this history, right?
Yes, yeah, yeah. I need to learn,
Yeah.
so I need your guidance.
Yes, definitely. This course will really help you on basic understanding of your web pages and how you will be doing all those things. So that is how just I'm explaining this particular concepts or how it goes and all. So what is the purpose of these languages, why we use and all. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So where are we? We are defining the attractiveness of our website. So what is this for like attractiveness which will be like providing by this, which is like a CSS. So what is this particular CSS? So we are talking about the CSS like style sheets, cascading style sheets. What is the meaning of cascading? Anyone knows about it?
I
Yeah,
don't know
Dinesh.
what cascading is, but yeah, I do know that CSS is mainly used for making the websites attractive. So that's the main reason, but not actual meaning of cascading.
Yeah. Anyone else?
For styling purpose, we use the CSS.
Yeah, we do. And what is the meaning of cascading? Okay, not a problem. Because whatever we are using the words, whatever the terminologies we are using over here, we need to know each and every meaning of those particular things. So, what is like the cascading means it is a process applying one on another. Okay, so which is like you are applying the styles on an element or any other tags, which is like it is applying one on another, which is like cascading your styles on the basis of this particular state sheets. What we define the style formulas and everything in a sheet. So which is like you can use it as a HTML sheet or any you can use it as internal styling. That's how it is. Okay, this is what the CSS is all about, which is providing you some not only the attraction it only giving you it also giving you the particular responsiveness nowadays like which you can implement using the media queries or any other frameworks. You can also include one css into another css using the import, and you can also use other frameworks like lace and scss. So based upon your how you compute your style sheets, this is also another kind of uh, there is another knowledge completely based on this particular CSS we have. Okay, but we are discussing only how to implement the Bootstrap framework over here in each and every or library or any framework or in the basic HTML how we define over here. Okay, and coming to this particular JavaScript, what is this JavaScript and all? So basically, the JavaScript gives you the coding part. We know that how we do the coding and all. But what is this particular JavaScript? Anyone knows about it?
Yeah, so JavaScript mainly, we can simply define it's like adding an action to the page.
Exactly. And what
Yeah.
else?
Uh, yeah, so that's what I know, basic definition. So adding an action to a website, and as you
Mm.
said, minifying the code and all those things, linking from. That's the main basement for as you said, to create a framework or something.
Okay. So the main intention of this particular JavaScript, um, can I say user interaction? So if you are using some web pages, the user has to interact with your page, like which is like clicking something, typing something, or validating something, or doing some user interaction part will be dealing with this particular JavaScript. Not talking about the validations, I'm talking about the interaction. So here, HTML gives you the information, CSS gives you the attraction of your site, and JavaScript will does the user interaction. It is providing some inputs, or it is like user to interact with the website so that he can get the information. based on those particular things. So basically, it was done on the basis of the actions or your scripting of your code or whatever the things it will be like. The front end will be like each and everything, like we have discussed earlier, like each and everything is a document will be preparing. So the JavaScript treats your web page on the basis of this particular tree structure like a document, and each document, as we know, the tree will be having a root element and the sub elements kind of thing. So it's just like nodes and siblings, all those things. So which is like the document is the main root of any other pages, where the JavaScript will be treating the page you are defining in the HTML that as a document. And at the root element, it will be like HTML. Somebody knows about the structure of HTML, and so HTML will be having the head and the body, and we have the head will be having some elements and body will be having some other elements. So those in the browser, what we are able to see the content in whatever the section of area will be called it as body. Those are called visual elements, where the user can see in the browser, and something like which we can configure, and it will be running in the behind, and you can not in the browser window, you can see in the browser uh, window like a tab screens or something like that, or you can see the favorite icons or whatever we will be using or that. So that particular configurations will be those things will be configured in your head element of your HTML, which are called the non-visual elements. We call it in your. So generally, what is a framework? So in generally, framework is used to reduce your overhead of your development. So which is like you need to have to use this particular framework to make ease of your application development. So where we'll be having a lot many architectures for this particular framework called MVC, three-tier architecture, or push versus pull based, and we'll be having a lot many other technologies all around. It will be like, so initially we'll be using the Python is a old language, where we'll be having the other frameworks for Django, Symfony, Ruby on Rails. All these are we are using from a lot many decades, and currently like we are using some we know about the MVC architecture when we are implementing this .NET. So we are implementing the MVC architecture in the .NET environment or in your Java environment using some other logics like Springs or Hibernates over here. And while learning our UI frameworks, we are also having this particular MVC framework, and where we will be implementing the structure, because MVC is a familiar framework where we'll be having this reducing the overheads of your software development. So we are doing this particular MVC framework in there. So before going all these things, so what is MVC framework? And each and everything will be having the data will be defined on the models, and where the handling of your data will be on the model. And the view part where you are seeing in that browser or in the DOM, we can say DOM is nothing but the document object model, which is like our page. And the control will handles the input and interactions. So which is like a controller will be having those particular things. This is a basic general scenario. What is MVC and all. And then backend, so we need to get the data from your API, which is like your application programming interface, which you needs to like connect some calls to pass your data or get your data. So which is like we'll be having the code operations like create, read, update, and delete. So which is like your CRUD system, where we are implementing these particular web APIs, and REST API, which is like a representational state transfer API, which is like this. And each and everything will be having these particular terminologies we'll be using for when we are using the web API, or we'll be using get, post, put, delete, patch, and we can use some custom methods we can define over there. But these are all the mostly useful things when we are using a web application. And these slides are the basic information of when you are dealing with some web APIs, we need to have to check this particular status codes. And status codes, these are all the only few listed, so we will be having many. So where we'll be having the 200 for the OK and 201 for the created when we are posting the data, like post is for the creation of your data in your database. And when you don't have the content, it will be throwing some 204, and if it is a bad request, it is 400, and if you are not authorized, 401, and if it is a forbidden one, also for you, which is like a 403, and if it is not there, you need to have to 404. So coming to this particular thing, so what is this particular JavaScript and what is this particular framework and libraries? Okay, so I'll just quickly open a so our prerequisites are we would like to discuss over here. So you need to have some basic idea about the HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, right? So I think you got this particular course content. So which is like in our session one, we are going to discuss some UI technologies about what is this particular HTML, and also hope you got this particular course content with you, everyone.
Yeah, I think so. We do have an
Yeah.
email.
Yes. So this is just an overview, like, so the basics will be covered, like if you are already know about those things, just take it as an overview, just a refreshing kind of session. So which we'll be discussing some basic elements and how we will be using and what are the input elements and what are the layouts, fonts, buttons, all these things. So which is like in our first session, second session we'll be defining about the CSS properties and what is the difference between the CSS properties and all. And we do discuss some important things like a 2D and 3D transformations with the multiple devices, how it will works and all. So finally, like to make your web application as a responsive, we will be discussing the Bootstrap as well. So what is the Bootstrap and how it will be using all those icons and all. And from the fourth session, we will be defining this particular JavaScript, which is helpful in understanding what is this particular JavaScript and all. So from the fourth session and fourth and fifth sessions, we'll be using the JavaScript and advanced JavaScript. And we are not needing any jQuery over here, but this is for just an overview, like how the simple framework it will be. And then we will be going to this particular React.js and all. So first, this particular JavaScript. So JavaScript is a scripting language, and each and every scripting language, like which is like we are evolving from a global standard called ECMAScript, which is like a global standard currently, like which is like the general JavaScript. It is like a ES5. Okay, so ES5 is the version which we will be using the general JavaScript, which is like a ECMAScript 5. And currently we are having the advanced JavaScript, which is like we are calling it as a ES6, which is like advanced JavaScript we'll be having. So there is nothing like the two things are there. We need to have to use this particular thing, which is like the latest standard we are getting. It is like it is coming with ES7. This is just a versioning of your JavaScript, how you changing your old methodologies into here, which is like we are having some functions, which was the syntax has been changed to any upgradation of your process will be giving you to make simplify of your usage of your whatever you are defining of your code. right? So the JavaScript is a scripting language which was defined on the standards of ECMAScript, and currently we are on ES5 and ES6. We will be starting with the ES5, how it will be enrolled, which is like a basic understanding of your coding standards level, and we will be discussing the advanced JavaScript and how the ES6 it will be, and how the ES6 is important for your implementation. So, in generally, we are talking about the libraries and frameworks. What is a library and what is a framework? So, library is just a collection of your predefined things, which is like, for example, if we are having a library in your colleges or in your schools, what is that particular library is doing? So, library is a collection of information which it is required for you, where you can acquire and where you can get more knowledge on those particular things, which is simplifying your standard, which is like a good guidance level for your implementation. So likewise, we are having the libraries, which is like a collection of your predefined methodologies in the JavaScript, so that you can make useful of your coding. So you have to define each and every logic on the particular script. It will be like simplifying your code on those particular things, which is used to like simplify those things. And okay, we are understanding what is a library over here and what is a framework over here. And framework is nothing but which is like a basic understanding about the framework is it will gives you everything which is on the basis of whatever the usage you need to like. Whenever you'll be having this particular thing to be called, like whenever you are doing something like for example, you are defining the elements. So the element, what is when the element was called, then you have to define the logic. So which is like completely it was defined on the basis like this. So you are having a lot many scripts in your backend, and where you can define using some libraries. And in the front end DOM is loading everything, and your coding is loading everything, right? I want only this particular code to be executed whenever I have this particular logic to be defined. So for that particular purpose, framework comes over here where it sits in the front end in your DOM part, which is like your view, or we can say it as a DOM. So which we will be calling this particular functionality on the basis of the directives, or you can say some properties. You can say what is this particular properties or directives in the front end. So why this particular framework like this and all? So it will controls your data, whatever the code part you will be dealing with your in your JavaScript. It will be like taking a charge of everything, and um, it is just managing the content in the front end, which is like this. So which is like here when we are using the framework, and this is the in charge for your implementation, which is like a implementation, everything will be taken care of here. And where the libraries, where the code is the in charge. Okay, which is for your implementation. So which is like this, libraries is a collection used to simplify the particular thing, and where the code is in charge in this. And here, where this particular frameworks will taking care of this particular in charge for your everything implemented. So the framework includes the libraries as well here, which you need to like. So to simplifying the code, we need to have some libraries in as its inclusion. So which is like the JavaScript is having some framework, which is like JavaScript is having some libraries first, and we'll be having some. So what are the libraries in the JavaScript? So first, primarily like we are using some library called jQuery. So jQuery is a simplified library where you can use the standards of your JavaScript on the basis of jQuery, which you need to have to include in your program with another package, where the package gives you the collection, and the collection we can use inside our program on the basis of that particular whatever we are defining or there with the terminologies and whatever the usage conditions accordingly. And moreover, to define the UI structure and each and every implementation into like the where you can develop this particular each and every implementation block in the front end as a reusable thing. So we call it as a component. We don't call it as a page or something, page block. The content block, we will be calling it as a component, and the component management, everything will be defined like more into like any other component based structure, which is we are making the reusability and we are defining the DOMs on the basis of this particular scripting standard, which is like we are having another library called React.js. So we are having a lot many other libraries based on this particular JavaScript, and we'll be only understanding this particular React.js in this particular session. So where we are able to see how the jQuery library and how the React will be having. And React as a library, it is having the basic structure of a library, but the React, it is more into controlling your user interface, so which we can use your component structure inside your thing. So where the React.js is useful to build the complex applications on the basis of your JavaScript code, which is like a we can define it as a UI complex application development, we can say. Okay, and one more point over here to add for this particular React. So we'll be having a single page application development. What does this particular single page application means? Like, what is the architecture of SPS? Single page application means. Anyone in your watch?
I think so. SPA is nothing but it's each and every action will be going on within the same page. Like, you know, when you submit a form, it doesn't take you to other page or other window.
Okay. And any more answers? So basically, like we are having only one page over here. What is a HTML page? The HTML page will be having a HTML head and body. Okay, which we can maintain in a single page. So whatever the logic you do, we'll be having only one page itself. So whatever the script you write, that will be included inside that, and you are using only that particular single page for your entire application, where the content will flows, whatever the URLs and whatever the cases it may be, but only it is using a single page, single HTML page to define your content, which is nothing but a single page application development, where we can see this. So how to implement the single page applications over here. Okay. And moreover, first we will be defining these particular libraries and how it will be and all. So, and then we will be going into this particular framework, and for the framework, we'll be using the Angular.js. So Angular.js is the first one. It was included for the framework, which is based on the JavaScript, and it will be defined with a lot of other terminologies. It will be implemented on its own with some custom directives, components, and we have some Angular will be having everything on a front-end control, and we'll be having another version of your Angular to have the mobile support, mobile framework support, which is like an Angular. So, which we call it as an Angular 2 or 4, 5, 6, and now 7 and 8. So, which will be having these many versions are available from last many years. So, which is like this. And React is the latest version where we'll be using. So why we are learning only Angular and React? We have a lot many things like Ember, Backbone, whatever the Vue.js. We are having a lot many, right? Why we are only learning the Angular and React?
I think so. Most of the companies are using those.
Exactly. Why they are targeting only these particular technologies? Because everything depends on the availability and the whatever the main the support, which is like giving you this particular thing. So which is like React.js is maintaining by the Facebook, and which is like a Facebook framework have been evolved this particular React.js. And AngularJS, it was initially started with AngularJS with by some professionals in the US, and after that it was incorporated and the taken care by the development strategies on all by the Google, so which it was maintaining by this Google, so it is like more familiar and more useful. So if the brand uh, is that much familiar, so everyone has to use it, right? So we are just like we are using the Google searches in our mobile, and whatever we are using the mails and all everything on the basis of the Gmail, Gmails, right? We aren't using any Yahoo, Rediff, and all those older things which we doesn't have any support, and we are not familiar with those things, and whatever the flexibility, time, and whatever it may be, we are using more comfortable with the brand. So just like we are using the Angular and AngularJS on this particular basis. So where we'll be learning this particular thing. So Angular is also implemented on the basis of SPA, where we can also use React.js also on the basis of SPA, which is like a single page application architecture. And you can go through this particular course now, so you can understand what is the React.js and how we define the real world SPAs, and what are the alternatives for the React, and understanding the single page applications, multi-page applications, and outline of this particular course, and what are the features of this particular React.js, and how we define the components and lists, conditionals, all those things we will be using this particular scenarios over here, and until the development of your things. So not only this particular document will gives you the overview of those particular things, but we will be seeing some deeper implementational things whenever we overthrow this particular overcome and this particular session. We'll be having the basic idea of how you are implementing on this particular course, which is all about like these are the guidelines we'll be giving over here, like what are the topics we will be covering over here, but we will be going in deeper with the practical implementation. So we will be seeing some project will be like, this is a sample project, we can go with any other project. So by the end of the session I'll be explaining you the real-time project scenario, how it will be, and all. And also we'll be covering the AngularJS on the basis of what is initially started with the AngularJS, so how it will be and how these particular AngularJS will be working on, because AngularJS was came into the market by 2009, and we have from the 2009, and after that Angular, which is like we will be calling it as Angular, which is like an in 2010 and other eras, it will be like involved in some other things like we have done with this particular Angular with some latest versions. And there is some gap of in the 2013 it was evolved the Angular and all, which is like Angular, the latest version, which was coming to the market by 2013, which is like we are having the 4 to 5 years of market was already like in the industry, it was already implemented on the basis of AngularJS. So we need we'll be having a lot of migration applications or something which we need to have to understand the migration from your older version to your new version. And here AngularJS is based on the JavaScript code, and Angular will be having this particular whatever the Angular version, the development everything which is like a TypeScript code, and which is like a TypeScript is another scripting language where it is like a superscript of your JavaScript, but it uses some compilation just like your programming language. So which is more important for your server environment to understand better on this particular Angular. Yeah, Charan, you are saying something. Okay, so just like Angular is completely based on the TypeScript, you are implementing the standard, like you are developing the code on the basis of the TypeScript. We will see the TypeScript basic, how it will be like, how it is different from your JavaScript and how the TypeScript it will be. So most of the people, if you know about the Java and the .NET development, it is easy to understand this particular TypeScript. But other people, don't worry about it because we are already learning the JavaScript, so it is easier for you as well. So which is like we will be having this particular TypeScript on. So we are having the good ideas we will be having over here. Okay. And for our course, so initially I start with some IDEs like Sublime Text, which is an editor, which is like IDE, Integrated Development Environment. And later on, I'll be using the Visual Code, which is like my prerequisites, which is needed for this particular thing. So after that, I'll be giving you the how to install and all those things, the environment setup, everything will be guided to you on the basis of this. So just go through this particular course content once, and we'll be having some idea about it, and the basics, the components, and everything will be defined over here, which is like what are the understanding. So these are all some basic topics which we'll be giving out here, and which will be giving you entire everything on the basis of the videos. Like here daily we'll be sharing the videos, whatever it will be like, how we have created the practical implementation, which is like a step to step you need to have to go through those particular things. So and each and everything will be modularized, and you need to have to include the modules to work on the something like which you are implementing on your uh, development, so which is like that much important. So if you want to have any other doubts in this particular thing, so which is like a basic session, we are just an overview and all, so it is just an information like we what we are covering and how it is and all. But don't get confused over here, which is like we are using these things, but in detail, if you go and see those things, it will be more comfortable for you. Okay. So any doubts for this particular session before going to the next session? So any doubts in this particular how it is implementation? So any confusions on this particular thing, how we are going with it, and your expectations also. Please let me know.
So yeah, Krishna,
Yeah.
Muhammad,
Yes,
will
Mohammed.
you teach like Angular CLI?
Yes.
Okay, with like a data binding and services and pipes.
Everything, Mohammed. Which will be starting with the basic JavaScript compiler with the AngularJS, and then we will be diving
Okay,
into the CLI creation of the particular environment, and we will start with the data bindings and components, all those things, which is entirely covered from
okay.
end to end.
Routing and HTTP calls, these all are things will
Yes.
be covered.
Uh,
I think so.
yes, everything.
Okay, fine. And
Yeah,
what about React.js? In React.js?
Same thing, like we will be covering the single page application environment, routing, Redux, and state management, the component
Okay,
structures, component lifecycle methods, everything the same thing scenarios like which you can develop an application using React and as well as the Angular, the same scenarios.
okay. And TypeScript will be covered in this thing
Angular.
or else? Yeah, yeah. Okay, fine.
While starting with the Angular, we'll be having some TypeScript. So on after the environment setup, so we'll be seeing some TypeScript things or how it will be included inside your Angular and all.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So mostly in Angular, it will be which version you can like it is 8 version or now recently the Angular 8 version will be released, right?
Yes. So we'll be focusing on the latest development, and when then and when it will be needed. So whatever the component changes in your previous versions, I'll be giving you the complete structure of how this it is before and after. Okay, so in the earlier versions,
Okay.
how it will be used and how it is now in the latest version. So I'll give you the complete picture of that.
Okay, so then no need to learn the Angular JS and Angular 2 for
But
Angular.
I'll be diving through the Angular JS as well because you need some basic structure of Angular JS, which it helps you
Okay,
on migrating the older applications.
okay, okay.
Okay, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, Krishna, which one is going to start first? I mean, which one is going to cover first, Angular or React?
Because as per my understanding, if you learn step by step, it will be useful for you because like first I will cover the JavaScript, advanced JavaScript, and then I will go to the React.js, which is on the basis of the JavaScript, you can understand better on the React.js. And after that, I'll be discussing the framework. So you will be having the changes between how you will be using a library and a framework. So you can see the flavors on and on step by step. So which is like I'm primarily focusing before React.js and after that AngularJS and Angular.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Yeah, Krishna. So you'll be updating every day on the sessions, or how that's going to be?
Yes.
So
And
it's
daily our session will be like 1 to 1.5 hours. So which is
okay.
like 30 to 90 minutes. It depends upon your queries and questions. So 60 minutes is my practical time. So which is like the 30 minutes I will be taking from your inputs and whatever you want to be know about it and your queries and more questions. So we'll work on that. So even a simple topic which you already know about it, you need to have to work on those particular different scenarios and you have to get it cleared. That is
Yep,
my
got
intention.
it. So yeah, so even though we do have knowledge, but brushing up is always good.
Yeah.
And so the sessions would be from Monday to Friday, or
Yeah.
Saturday and Sunday as well.
So it's from Monday to Friday only.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Krishna.
Thank you. So as we are working in the corporate, we do follow in the working scenario. So it's just like we are learning from Friday only for Fridays, like Monday to Friday. And if you are interested furthermore, you just have to work on the assignments, or if you want to work some application implementations on the Saturday, but do relax on the Sunday. So after that, you will again refresh on the Monday. You'll start your day. That's it.
Yeah, yep. That makes sense.
Duration will be like 2 months or
Basically, I planned this particular session for the you can see the session numbers over here, which is like 35, I think so, which is
yes.
completely will be taking care of five, like 35 sessions divided by 5, which is like 7 weeks.
Okay.
If you're targeting from Monday to Friday, it's a week. So generally 35 sessions, we do take 7 weeks.
1 week.
Yeah.
Okay.
And moreover, if you don't want Angular JS things, if you can manage Angular JS, that's up to you. So if you don't want those things, so which is like you want more earlier to finish the course, we can skip those topics, but I don't prefer to do those things because if you know those things, that's very better, and they might not be useful at this point of time. Maybe in the future, you may. It is because it is still live. It is still working. Okay.
Yeah, so Krishna, so you said React and Angular, right? So does we get confused, while learning those things, or it's gonna be quite cut and clear when we go through those topics?
Can you repeat the question once, Dinesh?
Yeah, so I was wondering, so you said React and Angular, right? So once we are
Yeah.
done with React, so as far as I know, React has a a little bit different syntax from the Angular. So React uses the components, and Angular uses some np commands and all those things. So I was
Yeah.
wondering if we learn, does we get confused while making the implementation and all those things?
No, that's I will make you sure that you will not get confused about this, because the React is different and Angular is different, but the mechanism how the React and Angular works on those particular things, finally you will come to know that these two things will works like a similar way, but there is a major difference in that. Okay, you can feel that, not a problem. Okay,
Okay.
but you will not get confused with this and that.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
So then we have to learn both React and Angular, or else we can learn Angular.
If you only concentrating on the Angular, that's up to you. But in this particular course, we are, as the market is growing with the two technologies, as you are becoming an UI developer. So being an UI developer, the market is expecting the latest things about the market. So which is like, if you are covering the both two things like React.js and Angular, you can apply for either of those opportunities, and you can go either ways.
Okay, fine.
Yeah. Okay. So the timings and all everything will be given to you by our organizer. So, and also like we'll start the starting time of the batch and everything will be like giving you from the organizer itself. So hopefully like we'll see in the next first session, we'll start with the basic things. So if there you are not interested on the basic sessions, you can uh, hold your time for what are the session times of what we have given over here. So which you can also inform to our people. So if you don't want those particular things, so just inform to the organizer so that they will be sharing you the videos of those particular things by informing. Or if you are not informing anything and you are directly joining on that particular session, means they will not know you are interested in this particular course or not. So that is the reason. So if you want to skip those particular uh, basic sessions, you will be getting the videos links. So based on the information provided to that particular organizer. Okay. But I don't suggest, if you come to the particular sessions, then that will be a refreshing session, and then you can also input some things, right?
Yeah.
Let's do it. Okay. See you in the next session if you don't have any other queries.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. Thanks a lot, Krishna.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So Krishna, you said okay. I think so. He left.
బాక్స్ లో పెట్టు కార్లో తినేసి నాకు కాదు
Lakshmi, are you over here?